All right. Welcome in to the fourth season of the Good Old Fashioned Dislike Podcast. We're doing the SEC football preview. We've got the only man we really need on this show, Will Byhan. Ben Hayes is still out in there flirting with possibly joining us. But of course, we'll be going down the panel of dislike. As I mentioned, Ben Hayes, he's going to pop on the screen here. So, yeah, the fourth season of the Good Old Fashioned Dislike. And we always kick it off with a little SEC football preview. I have not really kept up with like how much we get right. Typically going into the season, but it is a little bit of warm up at the end of the season. We have bowl season, the NFL playoffs, and March Madness, which Will has won 2 years running. But this is kind of a warm up to do a little SEC football. We have the panel dislike. We've got Will with us, Ben, Blake Holloman, and Josh Thorne. Some of y'all are probably like, Josh Thorne, is he real? Or if we just made him up. And we'll leave that up to you to decide.
Made him up.
But this is the first episode. Most Mondays we'll put out an episode comparing two rivalries. But like I said, to start off the season, we do a little SEC football preview. And there is no Barner with us tonight. We do have Blake's picks. But there may be a little Alabama lean. Of course, today we get the news that Jam Miller has some kind of collarbone issue and will probably miss, at the very least, I would think, a month. I think most people are trying to be optimistic that he'd be back by Georgia, which would be great. But we know for sure he will not make the run at Florida State. And so I don't know if that changes y'all's prediction or not. But we'll start with the bottom in alphabetical order with Auburn. I mean, I'm just kidding. But we'll start with Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I have them in for a long season. I've got them setting at Mississippi State's just got the worst record, I think, of the whole league. Alphabetically, I have Vanderbilt at 7-5, which, for them and Auburn, that's a really successful season. So,
Travis is going to throw some shade where he has a chance to while Blake's out.
I got Vandy going 7-5. Pavia shooting off the mouth just a little bit. I'll say that. He says they're gunning for the national championship.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not so fast. I put them at 6-6. Looking over the schedule, I'm not real good at telling who's going to do what. Let's just be honest. But their schedule looked pretty brutal for them. So I really hope, I don't feel like anything at this point, but I hope that at least Bama Nation gets a little bit of revenge at this point. So,
we better, or there will be much gnashing of teeth,
it'll be bad.
As the good book says. Will, what you thinking about Vandy?
Yeah, I've got Vandy at 5-7. I just don't like. I think the Pavia thing is, how it's kind of like you're new to the league. Nobody really knows how you're going to play. Now there's enough game film on you. But I mean, South Carolina's got a great team this year. I think they lose that one because they're at South Carolina. They're at Bama. They've got LSU. There's 3 losses. I don't think they make it past Texas or Auburn. So that's 5 losses. And I think they very easily could drop 2 of Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Like, I just don't. I think your rival games are going to be huge. I'm like you. I think Pavia has run his mouth like crazy. And I think there's just a lot of people that are going to be gunning just to shut him up because he's not really an SEC dude. He's one of those that's just kind of transferred in. He's done well. I mean, you got to give it to him. But I mean, they got a tough schedule, and I just don't know that they've got, the playmakers to be able to, if I think Pavia is their Kobe Bryant, right? But can he take over that many games? And I don't see it. So I've got them sitting at 5-7.
Blake's got them at 6-6, and Josh Thorne, for whatever reason, I didn't put his down. I don't know. Did he get Vandy? I just missed his. Let's see.
Looking to see if I can find
It
it.
would be easy to overlook Vandy, as Alabama knows well.
No, he's got. I see. Josh's looks like he's got him at 5-7.
5-7. There we go. I missed it. It was on another page. So Josh going 5-7. Next we have the Texas A&M Aggies. I've got them at 6-6, which is probably a little low. I did these back when we were at the beach in June. Matt Hupel says Kobe reference. He's loving that, of course. One of the greatest of all time. I'm sure Matt would make the argument that he is the greatest of all time, but who knows? This isn't an NBA show just yet, but it might be if Matt keeps commenting. I got the Aggies at 6-6, which kind of feels low at this point, but they got Texas. They got a couple of tough matchups. I'm still waiting for Georgia to make the trip to College Station for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I got them at 6-6. What say ye, Ben Hayes?
I think I've got them doing a little bit better than that. I've got them at 8-4. Just kind of looking over the schedule, I felt like there was a lot of winnable games for them. I have no idea whether they really are, but just looking at it, I felt like an 8-4 was a something that was doable for them, at least at this point. How about Will?
Yeah, I've got them at 8-4. I think the huge game for A&M season is week 4. So Auburn goes to College Station. And I really think that Auburn, like for both teams, that's a huge boost into the rest of the season. And so, I think Elko is just the A&M guy. Like he's the homegrown dude. I think he's kind of the Ed Orgeron of A&M. They just found their guy. They like him. He's not real flashy. He knows ball. And so I think if they get past Auburn, I mean, they got Mississippi State next. I don't think State's good. Florida's coming to A&M. They've got to go to LSU, to Missouri, but I mean, then they finish out with South Carolina at A&M, and then they got to go to Texas. I mean, I think 8-4 and maybe even 9-3 could be doable for them for sure.
Well, then you have that game like the Notre Dame game. I mean, you never know what Notre Dame's going to actually put on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be great, or is it something where an SEC team could come in and take care of business with them? I don't know.
And see, that's like a setup game too, because if you got A&M going to Notre Dame, if A&M drops that, they go to 2-1. That Auburn game becomes crucial the following week. So I think that Auburn A&M game could be a huge one on the 27th for both teams, because then Auburn's got Georgia the next week, which is
for their season.
Yeah, it's going to be both of them, I think.
Blake and Josh got them going 8-4, so they agree with you. Kind of got me questioning if there was anything on the line here, which none of this is. Don't take this anywhere other than with a grain of salt that it's worth coming from us. Yes, Carter, it is way past my bedtime, but SEC football, baby. And how's Stana, Ben? How's Stana?
Stana is doing okay. She's got a little bit of a sore nose from getting just demolished in dodgeball, even though she wasn't playing. She was standing on the sidelines, but Carter just throws it where he wants to, apparently.
Yeah, Carter's the good Hupel. We ended up with the wrong one on the staff, I guess.
Right. Bill Beck. What's up, fellas? Jeff Tavener, great seeing you guys today. What about that SEC bias, Will?
Hey, got to beat it, Jeff. Got to beat it.
And Matt Hupel says, no matter what Notre Dame puts on the field, I still hate them. I may or may not disagree. I completely agree in that take. Next, we have Texas. And I have Texas. I originally had them going 12-0, but I just think the SEC, I know they've got kind of a lame schedule, oil money and all, but I'm going Texas at 11-1. I'm changing that right now on the fly. Ooh. Longhorns drop at least one, 11-1.
Yeah, that's where I have them. I think there's just at least one of those games they're going to trip up. I mean, they've got a obviously they're ranked above everybody. But you've got a Georgia that they've got to take on. Oklahoma's a rivalry game, so you just never know with that one. So I feel like there's at least a chance they drop one somewhere in there.
I think they could start the season 0-1 because they got Ohio State. And it's also at Ohio State at 11 a.m. I mean, that's not an easy game to get up for. I mean, hopefully you get up, but I mean, 11 a.m. is not the
prime SEC time. What are these people
not the
doing?
most exciting time to play a game. But I've got them at 10-2. I think Georgia could be one.
That game there, yeah.
Oklahoma is supposed to be having a better team. Something like going to the swamp, and playing at Florida could also be, a little bit. And this is my thing is like, how good is Arch? I mean, he's got the Manning name, but I mean, what does it look like? And I'm not saying that Sark's not a good coach because I would love to have Sark back at Alabama calling plays, but like Sark hasn't always won the big one.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is going to happen there? So I think they drop a couple. I've got them at 10-2.
Blake's got them at 11-1. Josh agrees with Will. Texas at 10-2. I think all of us are at least dropping one, and the others have them dropping 2, which I would love to see.
I'd love them drop a few more than that, but
yeah, that'll make me happy. And of course, the worst of the worst, the Vials are next up. I've got them, and I want to tell you, talk about a schedule that breaks their way. I think they could showing up, breathing air, and probably get to 8-4. That's where I've got them at 8-4. Whoever scheduled them against Syracuse, my goodness, why the humanity? So I got them 8-4. Tennessee.
That's a lot of orange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got 8-4 as well. I'm kind of like you. Looking over the schedule, fairly easy schedule, but they could do better than that. But they certainly have some pretty easy ones on there. If they want to say that Alabama's a hard game, but half of them wouldn't admit that, I don't think. But you got Georgia too, so.
Alabama means so little to them. They tore down their own goalpost and threw it in the river.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I forgot about that. Forgot how little we mean to them.
Will,
I've got them at 9-3. I mean, as much as I would love to see them go 3-9, and shout out to all the people that I love in Tennessee, still hate your football team, but I think Heupel's good. I think he's a great play caller. I hope Iamaliava has a Heisman season at UCLA, just to spite
I love
the Tennessee fans. But I got a lot of respect for Heupel for saying, here's what we're going to offer you, get on out of here if you're not willing. So I've got some respect for that when it comes to the NIL gig. But I mean, really and truly, they're going to beat Syracuse. They're going to beat East Tennessee State. Georgia, probably, I would say, lose that one 2-1. And then it's UAB, Mississippi State, Arkansas.
Oh, my goodness. How the humanity.
I think they got – I mean, they've
Travis
got
is going to be in a bad mood for weeks.
They've got 3 tough games. They're at Florida. Oklahoma comes to town. And then Bama. And Georgia. They probably win one of those, so I'm going to go 9-3. So, and I hope we win, 75-0.
That'd be awesome. Blake's got Tennessee at 9-3. Of course he does. Josh has Tennessee at 8-4. So I think the consensus there is 8-4. The next team we've got is kind of that team, it's kind of teetering. They could go 10 wins or they could be 6-6. And it's the South Carolina Gamecocks. Alabama makes that trip. Which is not fun, brings up Stephen Garcia memories that are blah. But I've got South Carolina at 8-4.
Same here. I think it's kind of like a lot of the other schedules. You just don't know how it's going to break. It could break really badly for them. It could break even better than 8-4, but I'm going 8-4 too.
I'm going South Carolina. I've got 7-5 because they lost both of their defensive ends who terrorized Jalen Milroe and every SEC quarterback
Well, thank goodness.
last year. And so I think defense this season is going to be, they're going to have to outscore people. And I don't always feel confident when a football team has to rely on a quarterback to just do everything in today's, college football. Lenore Sellers is great. Solid guy, a lot of Heisman hype around him. But I think SEC defense is still, still are legit, still are good. And so a lot of that bend but don't break mentality. So I've got them at 7-5, although I'm terrified about Alabama having to go there.
It's not going to be a fun trip.
No,
Blake
it's
and
not.
Josh agree. They've got them sitting at 7-5. And then we move on to the Ole Miss Lane Train, Black Bear, Fire Tigers, Ole Miss Rebels. And I've got them taking kind of a step back. I think an 8-4 season for them is going to be disappointing. I don't know. The one thing about a coach like Lane, and I have a lot of respect for Lane, but when you get 10-2, you have a response like Florida State had last year, or you have hey, we're going to come out and get revenge. And I just don't see Lane as that kind of coach, like the revenge factor. I don't think he's hard nosed and be like, man, we got all this disrespect. Let's go out here and get it. But I've got them kind of at an 8-4, which might shock some people. But I've got them losing a couple of more ball games.
She's alive, just so everybody knows. She's not bruised in the face. She didn't lose any teeth. We're all good. All good. But the nose is hurting.
Yeah.
So I had 7-5. I'm not real exactly sure why, but I think just looking at that, they've got the chance of losing. You got LSU, you got Florida, you got South Carolina, all those, that are under, ranked, and Georgia and Oklahoma, so they've got at least 5 teams that are ranked above them. So there's a good chance they drop 5, but they may come out a little bit better than that. So.
Yeah, I've got them at 8-4, and I think a lot of it. I was just looking. Austin Simmons is their projected quarterback. Has not played. Jackson Dart, I think, was one of the best SEC quarterbacks. They lost him. Judkins transferred out last season, so I think they've got to replace some dudes. Lane, I think, is also a magician with quarterbacks. So, we've never seen the kid, but he doesn't seem to be. Like a definite, everything is just he's presumed starter. So it's not necessarily that like, hey, here's our, this guy's locked in and he's the guy. So I'm kind of with you, Travis. I'm going 8-4 for the Rebels. And I think that Oxford is very, very displeased with the 8-4 season.
Blake and Josh agree. They're both sitting at the Lane Train at 8-4. Next, we got the Oklahoma Sooners, and I've got them having an awful season and probably the end of the Venables run in Norman. I've got Oklahoma at 5-7.
Oof,
5-7. I think that's enough to get it done for Venables.
That's I got them at 7-5, which I don't do the math on this, so just want y'all to know. Maybe it's not even possible for all of this to actually happen. I just look at each schedule and decide, well, this looks good. So I don't even know if they can possibly.
Might be the best way to do it.
I don't know if that's even possible for all these teams to have 7-5 or 5-7 or whatever, but they do play teams outside the SEC. So I have Oklahoma at 7-5. I don't recall exactly. I was trying to find their games, but that was kind of where I landed on it. I know they've got some tough games.
I hope that return trip to Tuscaloosa is terrible for them.
I do too. Yeah, that would be great. Great.
We can't talk about Oklahoma without talking about how stupid their quarterback is, who listed on Venmo that he put sports gambling, and he has insisted that was all inside jokes, but I mean, it.
It's an
And
interesting inside joke.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if you're that stupid to write that, like, how can we trust you to to run an SEC offense? And Venerables is not an offensive quarterback. You can watch TV in the living room, not right here. I know it's so frustrating. But it's like how I mean, I don't know. Venerables is a defensive guy, and then OU hasn't done well already. Tough schedule. I'm with you, Travis. I mean, I've got them at 7-5. I think they upset a couple people, kind of like the Bama thing last year. But even in that same vein, I mean, his is his fourth season, and I don't know many SEC schools that stick around even at 7 wins in your fourth season, other than Arkansas, because Sam Pittman's just a dude. So we'll
It's
see.
Arkansas, right? It's Arkansas. Blake has Oklahoma at 6-6. I think that's enough for Venables to be done. Let's see. Josh has Oklahoma at 7-5. That might be enough for him to hang around.
But I think 7-5. But if you lose the bowl game, it still puts you on the hot seat. But it's just, I mean, by year 4, I mean, people aren't sticking around these days. At that. And I think OU has got the heritage of a program and the historical, championship level caliber teams that's just not going to be very pleasing to that fan base.
No.
Especially if Texas does well.
Oh, yeah, that's
There's that comparison.
Yeah, there's the kicker. I've got Missouri next at 9-3. I feel like that's one of those. It's another schedule. Like they have a really schedule, show up and they're going to a bowl. And so I've got them setting at 9-3, but I think those 3 losses are going to be pretty ugly.
I'm trying to find. I was looking at their schedule. For Mizzou, that was the one I just didn't even care to pick. Yeah, I had 6-6 on that. What'd you say you had?
I had 9-3 on Mizzou.
Oh, I could be really wrong. So I probably am
really right,
but I don't know. I guess just kind of looking at their schedule, they've got several ranked opponents that they've got to play. They've got South Carolina, Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. Then there's that championship Vandy team that they're going to have to go in there and face. They got to go to Auburn, to Arkansas, which who knows how good Arkansas is going to be, but they got some possible teams there they can fall to.
Missouri, you said they got to go to Arkansas and go, they're not good. So Drinkwitz hit the portal big. So 17 transfers coming in. He's replacing, Brady Cook? Yeah. Luther Burden, who was a legit wide receiver.
Yeah.
And maybe even what some believe to be the best receiver, in the SEC last year. So we'll see. Drinkwitz is an interesting fella. But I've got them at 7-5. I think they upset, maybe a couple people there and just make some frustrating. I mean, I guess I put them in the same vein as South Carolina. Just a difficult, road game if you catch them at 11 a.m. or, something similar. So, but they've got a transfer quarterback coming in from Penn State. So I think he's going to be the key to the whole thing.
Blake and Josh both rolling at 7-5 for Mizzou. I got Mississippi State at 3-8. A long season in Starkville.
Mississippi State, I got 5-7.
You got a longer season in Starkville.
Even longer. Yeah.
I totally get and agree.
What about you, Will?
What? We're talking about Mississippi State. Sorry, we were having an intense discussion.
I've got them at 3-9. I guess I left one off. I think
Mississippi State. I gave them 4-8. Let me pull up their schedule real quick. I think Jeff Levy is actually
even longer season.
I think that Levy is actually a good coach. But I mean, their schedule is not not great. Tennessee, A&M, Florida, Texas. Wow, that's going to be a tough stretch. Then Georgia, Missouri, and Ole Miss to finish out. I don't know. They may go 3-9. That's that's pretty rough.
Ouch.
Now, Colby Keenum from Mars Hill is supposedly the starting center for
Yeah.
Mississippi State. Um,
Oh, nice.
so that will be really, really cool, to watch a hometown guy. So I'll be rooting for them just because of that. But man, they just got that's tough. That's a tough schedule.
Blake and Josh. Blake's got them at 3-9. Josh has them at 4-8. That leads us to the LSU Bayou Bengals, who I think make a resurgence. I think they're going to make the playoff. I got them at 10-2. I think one of those losses is to the Tide. But I've got LSU at 10-2.
Sure hope so. I got the same. That's what I had it down as too. I feel like they're going to be pretty strong this year. It seems like
Got one of the only returning quarterbacks.
They may have the best quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah.
Or the most NFL ready quarterback in the SEC.
Gotcha. Yep. You got them at 8-4, Will. What you think?
Yeah, I think 8-4 for me is more Brian Kelly. I just don't think he's that good of a coach. I think LSU recruits itself. I don't know that anybody's going down there to actually play for Brian Kelly. Like Nick Saban, Kirby, like people go play, and I mean we've talked about it before. The NIL discount, like I don't have to get a lot of money if I can go play for Saban or Kirby, probably even Ryan Day on some level there. But like Brian Kelly, that dude's just weird, and he has never ever won. Like he's never won the big game. Like I mean, he's never gotten over the hump, and I don't see it here either. I mean, they got to go to Clemson. Dabo's actually learned that the portal works now and has hit some of that. Florida, Ole Miss, like I think Ole Miss could get them in Oxford. South Carolina, I mean that's gonna be a tough one. A&M, they're at Bama, at Oklahoma could be a huge. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. And once again, everybody's riding what their quarterback is it.
Nussmeier.
Oh, Nussmeier. Yeah, it keeps coming back to that of well, here's the guy. We're gonna hang everything on him, and I don't know. I get iffy with that.
Blake and Josh agree. An 8-4 LSU squad, and that brings us to Kentucky. I got them, and I'm afraid Stoops is running out of time. Although you're Kentucky, I don't know that it's going to get much better than
a little
Stoops.
bit more time.
I've got them having a terrible, terrible season at 4-8. I hope they hold on to Stoops, but I think if they hit 4-8, they probably won't. But I've got Kentucky at 4-8.
I had them a little bit better, 5-7, but just looking at the ranked teams that they got to play, obviously they may pull a few of those out, but they've just got a tough schedule. I don't know that it's not like the toughest in the world, but they've got Georgia, I guess, is their highest rank that they've got to play, but
they got to play Texas.
Kind of high. Oh, there you go. Oh, sorry, I missed Texas, and it's back-to-back weeks. That's gonna be
nice.
Rough.
Welcome, Kentucky. You're welcome.
Yeah. I've got Kentucky at 6-6. I think I'm with you, Travis. I think Stoops is a good coach. Like I think he just knows ball, and so it's one of those where they can beat Vandy, they can beat Louisville, they'll beat Tennessee Tech. Do they steal like an Auburn, Florida?
They beat Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, Ole Miss. They'll beat Eastern Michigan. They'll beat Toledo. I think they've got 4 for sure wins. Can they pull out a South Carolina, an Auburn, a Florida, Vandy? I think they probably can. So I'm going to go 6-6. If they make a bowl, I think you just got to be happy and keep Stoops there. Yeah, because I'm with y'all. Did he not get another contract this past year? Because there was a lot of talk.
Sure of. I heard a lot of grumbling about some of the stuff he said on like the sports radio team, but I'm like, you're Kentucky, man. Y'all should just be happy.
Yeah.
that Stoops would even sniff Lexington to coach Pigskin. Blake's
because
got him at 5-7. Josh has got him at 6-6. What else, Will? What you got?
well, he was rumored for A&M's job.
That's
And
true.
and so I don't know if they gave him some extra money or if they did something, because Kentucky's going to have to be if you let Stoops go, you got to go to the FBS level and just get somebody, an upcoming guy, take a chance and see what happens. And I don't know that doesn't set your program back even, another 5 to 7 years. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You got to
Travis,
be a little
don't
careful with NIL now. Go ahead.
mhm.
I was going to say, don't forget that we walked around campus there in
True. We
Lexington.
may
So
have given them some good vibes.
we
Maybe.
might have given them something. So.
Yeah, plenty of something. Next, we have the Georgia Bulldogs, also replacing and getting a new quarterback, although he did get some play last year at the end of the season. I've got the Bulldogs at 11-1 and making Atlanta with Texas. It'll be Texas and Georgia in my SEC championship game prediction. Not who I want to be there, obviously.
Georgia, that's who we're on?
Yeah.
Sorry. 10-2 is what I got. And I think they're similar. To me, it's just hard for me to put anybody down as, other than Texas, I put 11-1, but the rest of them, it's just, there's so many slip-up games now, and it's just, as long as it is and as tough as the schedules can be, I just feel like there'll be at least a couple that they'll drop. I hope more than the couple, but
I've got Georgia at 10-2 as well. I don't think that. I mean, Kirby has not dominated the recruiting trail as much as I thought he would, especially with Saban out and Sark, kind of dominating Texas and all that, because Georgia's got a lot of good football players that come out of that state. And I know DeBoer has grabbed about 3 of them right out of Kirby's backyard. And so that honestly has surprised me, a lot. I mean, they lost Carson Beck. Not that Carson Beck was anything, to just flaunt over. But it seems like there hasn't been. It's been a typical all season for Georgia. They've had more, people driving 150 miles an hour and ending up in jail. So it's like, I think they drop a couple. So I'm going to go 10-2.
All right, Blake and Josh agree with you. Got them at 10-2, the Bulldogs of Kirby Smartville. I'm going next. We've got Florida, and I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I've got Florida at 9-3 on the season, and we begin to see the Billy Napier that they hired, and I think it pays off. I think one of the great things about the NIL chaos is you have to save money. You can't just fire a coach and pay him $20 million to leave and expect to keep good players. And I think for Billy Napier, that could pay off this year. I think Florida would be super happy with the 9-3 and on the outskirts of Playoffville.
Nice. I think I've got 8-4 for them. I think there's just some tough games in there that I felt like they were, going to struggle with. You've always got the Miami and the Florida State somewhat rivalries in there. They've got Texas, they got Georgia. So I gave them with 4 losses in there.
I took the kind of middle of the road. I went 6-6, and I think once again, a lot of that is, and maybe there's a theme here. Everybody's talking about how Lagway is just the greatest thing since sliced bread down there, and that Napier's finally figured it out, in Florida. So I don't think that he has proven himself, that much. I think he's a decent coach. I think he's a good coordinator. I don't know that he's a great head coach, but until they can prove a little bit more consistency, I'm probably going to keep them middle of the pack.
I see a lot of South Carolina and Florida as very kindred spirits program wise at this point. Blake and Josh agree with Will at a 6-6 season, and I think that starts rumors for Napier. He's already kind of had a resurgence last year, saved his job. I think 6-6 might get it done. And then, of course, now we're on to the barn. I've got them at 9-3. I think Auburn is got some benefit of the schedule, but I will say I think it hinges on Baylor. I think they've got to come out, find a way to win out in Texas to start the season. If they do that, they've got a great shot at 9-3. I just have a hard time, and this is where my pessimism comes in, Will, of seeing the Tide beat Auburn 6 in a row. I would love to see that. I hope it happens, but this will be DeBoer's first trip into Jordan-Hare.
We all know how that goes.
I think they lose 3 in a row in the kind of the middle of the season. They'll be 3-3 at some point, and then they'll just get on a run like Auburn does. And no one's expecting anything out of them, which just means Auburn is the most dangerous at that point.
Yeah, they might win a championship at that point. I had an 8-4, another one of them that I just felt like there was going to be some losses there, but hey, they may do what you say. Kind of hope not, but there you go.
Well, I did marry into an Auburn family. And so I've kept up with Auburn. I follow a lot of their beat writers so that I can talk ball with Lindsay about like what's actually going on in Auburn. And I mean, they've got the dudes. Like Cam Coleman is great. Their wide receiver crew is great. I'm just not buying the hype on Jackson Arnold. Like
But he beat Bama, Will. He beat Bama.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I mean, I'm not buying it on him.
He beat Bama.
Yeah. Me and Blake were talking about it the other day. It's like the only thing that's coming out of their fall camp is how terrible Jackson Arnold's doing. Like the beat writers are talking about it. There's been comments that Hugh Freeze has made about it. And I asked Blake, maybe it's because everything else is on track and that's the only thing that's lacking. And if that's the case, like that's big, and maybe that's really, really good that's all he's focusing on. But I think they probably go beat Baylor, they beat Ball State, they beat South Alabama. I don't know if they get Oklahoma, so they're 3-1 there. Then I think A&M, that's going to be a tough one in College Station. If they end up 3-2 going into the Georgia game and lose it, and they're 3-3, I think that could be a bad sign for the season. But I think they could also go, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I think they could be 5-0 going into the Georgia game too. But then you got Georgia, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky. I mean, I don't know. I've got them at 7-5. I just don't think they make it. I'm not buying, everything on Hugh Freeze, because it seems like in the past couple of years, nothing's ever been Hugh Freeze's fault. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're the head coach. Like at some point you got to take ownership, of what's going on. So, I mean, if they do well, I got a happy wife. If they don't do well, then I guess I don't have a happy life. So, we'll see.
Josh has got the Auburn going 7-5. Blake, our resident Barner, has them at 8-4. So I'm the most high on Auburn by 1 win. That brings us to Pig Suey, the Arkansas Razorbacks, who I have at 4-8. And apparently, I just think there's going to be a lot of coaching changes this year. Seems like it might be that time. But Arkansas at 4-8, I think that's enough to get Sam Pittman the exit. Benjamin.
You're muted, Ben.
Muted. Yeah, that happens.
Sorry, my dog started barking. I have them at 5-7. So kind of one of those other teams I don't think is going to do real well. So
man, I'll
probably loving them a little bit more by giving them that number. But
I've got Arkansas at 6-6. I love Sam Pittman. Like I think all that dude cares about is coaching football. And I don't condone this, and drinking beer. Like that's all that dude cares about. But I think he's a great coach. I think he's just stuck, in Arkansas, and that's unfortunate. But I think they're also
fire your agent, Sam Pittman.
I think they've got the ability. They're one of those teams too that it's all about, um, just if somebody doesn't come in and have their A game, like I think they can be a tough team. So, but if people come in, have their mind right, they're probably going to take care of business.
Blake and Josh have them going 6-6. Of course, that's bowl eligible. That's probably enough to keep Pittman his job.
Yeah.
I think the bowl game will be the difference. Can they get to a bowl? And of course, that leads us to, if you guys didn't notice, I got my 1992 national championship jersey from the Superdome forever ago. We won't get into the math there. That brings us to the Crimson Tide. As I mentioned, got some bad news today. They'll be without Jam Miller, who's been good. I wouldn't say that he's been great. Obviously, he's better than me, which is a low bar. And I think the hope is that he'll return before that trip to Athens. And certainly, we wish the best for Jam. Stuck around senior year, kind of a bummer. I don't know if that adds to or takes away anything from the predictions you guys made. I've got Bama at 10-2, closer to 9-3 than 11-1. I do think that's enough to get them in the playoff. As much as I respect the SEC championship game and getting to Atlanta, I don't necessarily think it's as big a deal to miss Atlanta if you're setting at 10-2. But I got them at 10-2, and I got them in the playoff, which I think is enough to keep people happy with DeBoer. I think that's the bar in year two.
I had 10-2, but I'm kind of like you. I'd slide more towards the 3 losses, especially with that up front. I mean, you got Florida, you got Georgia, or Florida State. I mean, you got Georgia.
Be careful.
Yeah. Georgia. And then, like you said, in Auburn, that's going to be a tricky one for him, especially first time into the Bermuda Triangle down there. So you never know what happens.
So, Ben, you've got Bama at 10-2, LSU at 10-2, Georgia at 10-2. You got Texas and Atlanta. Which one of those 10-2 teams is facing the Longhorns in the ATL?
I'm not sure. Because I'm trying to think of when I think of the 2 losses,
you got Bama. Bama plays LSU. Bama plays Georgia at Georgia.
Yeah.
So those are definite crossovers.
Yeah.
We'll let you think about it. Will, what you got?
Think on that one.
Travis, what do I have? It's the same every year.
12-0, baby.
12-0, baby. Homer all the way. Because I still feel like on paper we should win every single game. I'm not saying we're going to, but I'm confident. I'm not one of these. Ty Simpson played in 4 games and now he's going to go win the Heisman.
Yeah.
Because this is what's different in my mind is we don't need Ty Simpson to go win the Heisman.
No.
Like we just need him to go out there, run the game plan, and just make the right read at the right time. And DeBoer has talked a lot about that Ty has been willing to take the easy pass so that we can get 2 or 3 yards to get down in distance in manageable situations. And I like that. It reminds me of kind of, it's not the A.J. McCarron talk. It's more the McElroy and Jake Coker talk, of just go out there and get it to the guys that you need to get it to and let's go play ball. And I like that it's not, I mean, Milroe was great at what he did. And I'm glad that he was part of the team and kept things moving in a good direction. But we had to have Milroe be great every single game for us to win.
Too reliant. I mean, that goes back to Saban. When we were reliant on the quarterback to get the job done.
Yeah.
I don't know that we won a national championship, but when you got a guy who can get it in the playmaker's hands, make the right decision.
And I think this may be last year. Womack had the best defense in I think 7 years statistically, and we brought back 90% of those dudes. I mean, if we can stay away from injuries, and I feel like everybody, I think it was it may have been Todd that was in an interview and said all the people that questioned DeBoer are now out of the building. and it's just everybody is bought in to who he is, to what his game plan is. I don't condone this either, but I think Grubb is the get in your face, cuss you out. They said he's the hothead, and I think we needed something that balanced out DeBoer on that because DeBoer's not that guy, and I think he's a player's coach, but they said Grubb gets in there and just will chew people up and down. So, I think we've got a good balance. I don't think a lot's going to change with Grubb coming in. I think it's more of just we have guys that fit the system that DeBoer and Grubb run more than Grubb's going to come in and change a bunch of stuff. So, I think we got a shot. I think we have got some Jedi powers over Georgia, so I still feel confident going to Athens. And I think we can get it done.
I think this is the least dangerous Georgia team that we faced.
Yeah.
It's still Athens. We still easily lose that game, but I think that the quarterback not being him and Ty kind of having the same situation. So Will, you got Bama at 12-0. They're obvious in Atlanta. You've got Georgia and Texas at 10-2. Who faces the Tide in the ATL is one of those losses for Texas against Ohio State, and Georgia's are both in the SEC.
Yeah, that's what I would have is Bama and Texas. At this point, because I think Texas still has probably some of your better athletes, and I also think that Sark's a mastermind, and this is what I do love when he was at Alabama. Najee Harris and them talked about how it was easier to run an NFL offense than it was to run Sark's offense.
Yeah.
Because he schemes so well, and several of the running backs have already talked about how they're motioning out of the backfield, motioning back in with Grubb every single time too. So it reminds me, what I'm hearing is it reminds me a lot of what Sark did, and I think Grubb is just going to bring a pro style, offense, and I think that's what is working in college football now more than, let's just go 5 wide and run up down the field like a race car. So,
well, Blake and Josh have Bama at 9-3. Blake has a Georgia-Texas SEC championship game. I think that Josh Josh has a Georgia-Texas meeting in Atlanta. Ben, I know you got a couple of 10-2s there. You've got Texas in. So you got Texas in. It's going to be Georgia, LSU, or Bama. You want to just be the homer and roll with the Tide, or what you thinking?
I mean, I want to. That's what I want to say. I would like to see it that way. I'm probably leaning, especially with the Jam Miller stuff. I'm probably going to lean Texas, Georgia in the SEC championship game. And to be honest, the way it kind of works out, I don't know that. I mean, I want them to be in Atlanta, but sometimes with the playoff, it works out a little bit if you're not, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm going to probably say Texas, Georgia if I had to right now.
And just to wrap things up, I'd like to remind everyone that I've been vindicated that Alabama did not, in fact, steal Florida State's spot. It was Michigan. It's Michigan. I know it's 2 years ago. I don't care. Stop moaning and complaining, Florida State. Michigan they cheated. They stole your signs. They stole your spot. Just think about this, fellas. This is how great – it always comes back to how great Nick Saban is. It took Michigan cheating like crazy to beat Alabama by one play that Alabama messed up. So it's going to be a great season, guys. Thanks for jumping on. I know it's late. We had dodgeball yesterday. It's been a full day of ministry, and always good to see your face. And so we'll get going. Thanks for being on the panel at Dislike for season 4. Can you believe it? Season 4.
That's crazy.
The good old-fashioned Dislike. Everybody have a good night, and have a happy football season coming up soon. See you guys.
See you guys.